This week on Pivot with Purpose.
Am I making it comfortable for you to be a single mom while
Why are you struggling?
or stood in long lines, food bank lines, homeless shelters? I was in the heat with a stroller from Goodwill. Am I doing you a disservice or am I helping you?
Right.
And that's a thin line.
Her chores in my house is every evening. She needs to wash the dishes, clean the kitchen, so when I wake up, the kitchen is clean.
Got it.
A week now.
It's only 3 of you in there. One of them's a toddler.
Nah!
Yeah,
Am I talking to a wall?
Yeah.
But it's because there's never any consequences. Hey friend, you're listening to Pivot with Purpose. This is my show where I pivoted from shit I'm 30, where I was dreading turning 30. I had a failed marriage, failed engagement after that, and I don't have a relationship with my immediate family. But through it all, I came out the other side with a thriving business, an unexpected radio morning show of my own, and a platform where I can reach millions of people and help them walk in their truth. I am now celebrating every step of my journey into continuously finding my purpose, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes this journey looks like shit, and it probably sounds even worse, but it's still our journey, and I'm learning right along with you to enjoy it. There's always a rainbow after the rain falls. Now, if you need advice in pivoting in any aspect of your life, relationships, career, spirituality, send your questions or story to askcarlawilmaris@gmail.com or shoot me a DM at carlawilmaris. Now, let's start the show. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Pivot with me, Carla. I haven't been in studio. We're back at Hi Hello Labs. I haven't been here in 3 months. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I walked in the door and I just wanted to hug everybody. I almost like kissed everyone because I was so excited. Love being here, but being in studio is like a totally different feel. And although I coach everybody, I'm like, you don't need a studio. Mm-hmm. I guess you don't need any studio. This one, if you're in Orlando, you might need it for real. You don't need a studio, but it feels good to be in a studio.
Does. It feels good to be here.
I know. And y'all know that voice because like 40 bajillion people know her voice.
Hi, babes. How are you?
It's Ariel. We have been like hanging out so much, which actually I love it. I'm really happy.
She's probably the best person I've met by mistake.
But because
the best person
you're the best person I stalked.
Yeah. I think this has worked out perfectly. I don't know who aligned it, who was like, these two people deserve to.
It was Paola.
Uh-huh.
I just give credit.
And we don't even live that far away from each other. Crazy.
Because I'm like, wow, what am I going to talk to this girl about? Like, what she's like, it's this story. I'm like, send me some reels. So she's like, I'm telling you. And I'm like, oh my God, let me. And I'm like, is she really here? Like down the street? So I'm really glad that you've been around and that you can kind of, I always get scared of meeting new people or becoming friends with new people because my life is so like hectic.
Yeah.
And it's like family drama to work stuff to at home, just all this stuff. And I was like, my girl got drama too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say drama, more like just it's chaotic. Our lives are chaotic, but we know in our brains and our life figure out how to put it together. So I'm really thankful for her and for her coming in here. And I just feel like a lot of the conversations, some of y'all say y'all's friends' conversations deserve to be in a podcast. They don't. But ours really do.
Yeah. I think they do.
I think
might be a little biased, but
just a tad bit. But I also feel like when people like when you're listening or not even like you the listener are listening or watching, you have so much to say.
Yeah.
Like and you really relate to us. And sometimes I'm like, I always want to make sure to relate to someone who might be on my level or like, you know, a couple of chapters behind and I can kind of give you my experience. I was crying the other day about someone not feeling like I see enough of where I'm going. Okay. Who can I relate to? I'm like, I can't, I've never been here before.
Yeah.
So who do I talk to? Who do I look at? Who do I listen to? So I have to do a better job of finding more people that are where I want to go.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to work on next because I just need that. I know that I continue to grow in certain areas.
Right.
And then it's like, I can't keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
To unlock. So one of them is going to be getting a business coach.
Okay. Mentorship wise?
Yes. It was something that I saw at church, but maybe we'll get into it. Maybe not. I'll see.
Okay.
But first of all, I want to make sure that if you're here and if you're here on a weekly basis, whenever we drop the episodes, make sure you leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I need them. So right now, just stop. Go to Apple Podcasts. Leave that review. I need some more. We're getting some really dope opportunities with Pivot. So I want to continue to grow those. And I want them to see that you, the listener, are actually engaged with us. So it's like, it's one thing where I'm like, I know you're my homegirl. I know you're my homeboy listening at work and driving, but really be here with me and engage so I can continue to grow this platform and doors will continue to open. And I cannot wait till you see some of the opportunities that are happening to me right now, which I usually would spill the beans on it all, but I can't.
No.
It's so hard.
You cannot.
It's so hard
Don't
to not
even look
spill
at
the
me
beans.
because I'm terrible. I can't hold water.
Okay, I can say one thing. Legal told me I can say one thing.
Okay.
Basically, I'm 90% sure if I pass a psych eval, which we're like, will you pass a psych evaluation? I will be gone for 6 weeks with zero access to the internet or my phone.
Which is the world, just about.
Yes. So 0 access to the world. I'll be gone. So I have a project that even it will mean that I will probably be gone. So that's all I can say. So Stay tuned and definitely continue to engage on those Apple reviews. Or if you're on Spotify, you can only like it. You can leave a review there. Or YouTube. You can go on YouTube.
Yes.
If we're working on, especially This Too Shall Pass.
Yes.
And Pivot, getting those videos up.
Yep. We are working on it.
We're working on it. Some things happened, but the devil is not going to win. We've had great conversation about that. Before we get started with the episode, we're going to do a new segment that I kind of started teasing, but I really want to implement it now.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Florida news. We're in Florida, and I'm constantly we follow things of Florida just because we live here. And There's so many things constantly happening. And I'm like, whether it's legal stuff or politics things or just regular old Florida folk, just like us. And I can't even be like,
it's us.
I've been there. I've done certain things.
Am I the problem?
Maybe a little bit, but sometimes I really feel like our response to things, I'm just from Florida.
Yeah.
And I've used that plenty of times. I'm from Florida. That's what we do.
Does it work for you?
I don't care. The whole part of saying I'm from Florida is I don't care if you're judging me or not. You got to take it as a excuse. Okay. And most people will be like, makes sense that you are from Florida. So there was this mom, a Florida mom, like us. This one just happened to be white. And
she's what?
White.
Okay. White.
She was indicted for the breach of Patrick Space Force Base on a high-speed chase. So basically like an Air Force base. So what happened here is she's 29 years old. She's facing these charges for grand theft auto and damaging government property.
Okay.
Yeah, wilding out. So they announced that her name is Krishna, which is crazy because, actually, Krishna Janowski. Yeah, that gives weight, doesn't it? She entered the base without lawful authority back in February. And at the time, the deputy said she ran through the gates of the base, getting out of her car along with her 4-year-old son. So I'm just envisioning Psalm in the car with me, ramming through the gate in the base of like a Air Force base, like a military base. And then she obtained while on the base, a car of another individual, knowing she was not entitled to the use of the vehicle. The owner of the vehicle was still in the driver's seat when she got in, but he was asked to get out by a staff member of the base, leaving her in the front seat and allowing her to flee in the car. I want more information about this because I feel like that might be her baby daddy.
Did she get the kid in the car?
Yep.
In this other person's car?
Yeah.
That was just randomly parked
and
waiting
went on
for her.
A high-speed chase. So then she fled the base at a high rate of speed, and the deputies stopped her eventually. And she told them the following information. She began making statements that she was at a hotel in which veterans were present, but was fearful of them, not knowing if they were there to help or not. Krishna then went on to state she left the hotel with the 4-year-old son. Krishna stated that she got to the base and followed the vehicle in front of her. She was then directed to pull over and fearful of what they were going to do to her. So she got in the man's vehicle. Krishna was advised she took her son out of her vehicle and placed him into this male's vehicle. She got in front of the passenger side seat, dug down. The male was removed from the vehicle. So then she got in the driver's seat and drove off. She did not know the male subject, but he gave her permission to take it. So they still reported it as a carjacking.
Right.
She was indicted on all these charges. And I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. And now she's facing up to 30 years in prison. Is this mental health?
It's a lot of things. I get the barrier. Okay, say she damaged the property.
Right.
How do you get that far onto a military base?
She followed behind someone, but she didn't. So I ain't gonna lie to you. I have a friend, right, that lives in a mobile home.
Okay.
Gated community. It's gated.
Okay.
When I tell you, baby, there's a gate and there's one of these thingies. What is this thing called?
I don't know. The lever.
The lever thing that goes up and down. Yeah. The gate opens.
Right.
You pass, you get close, the lever will open, and as soon as the back of your car, boom, it goes down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is just a regular motorhome neighborhood. Mobile home, I should say. The houses.
Mobile home.
Okay, yes.
You said it right.
Okay, got it.
Motor home.
Mobile homes. So how is there not? I can't get in there. If she don't answer
know.
the phone when I call on the little box thingy, you can't get in. I can't follow nobody.
Military
in.
bases usually have someone at the front with guns or armed people.
Yeah, where are the guns?
And why was there a random man just waiting to let her enter his car?
I have no idea. That's probably the person she followed. But it just reminds me again that in Florida, healthcare sucks.
It does.
Especially mental health.
It does.
And it made me feel like I don't know what's going on with this woman. And I usually don't try to like defend white people. But right here, it's like, I think something was happening. There had to be a mental, I almost had a breakdown this morning. I kind of did. My knee hurts at the moment and I punched I might have broke my dryer. I got to talk to my therapist about that. I haven't done that in years. I was so angry. Maybe I think Psalm losing his shit yesterday. I was like, let me try it too.
Let me try to loosen some shit around here too. Yeah.
Let me see if it works.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Florida news. We have a woman facing 30 years for literally breaking into a military base, and we have no idea why.
Did they start chasing her because she entered the base, or were they chasing her before and she just drove into the base? She drove
out of the base with the carjacked car. So they chased her on the carjacking car. But she had the lucidness, is that the word?
Yeah.
To take the son with her and put him in the car.
That must be the fastest moving 4-year-old, because I try to get my kids to move with me and they slow me down. We would have been caught because my kids don't move that quick.
First of all, did she put the child out? Because how did the kid not get out?
I don't know.
Did she get the car seat in and put the seatbelt? There's no way.
They weren't doing any of that.
So whatever, she might have some issues, but I want to know how well behaved that child is and what school they go to, because it was in Cocoa.
And if he wants to come to my house, because I need someone to teach my kids to move quicker.
This happened in Brevard County. It was in Cocoa. That's on the street.
No, yeah, that's not.
It was actually on clickorlando.com. So that was how close it is to Orlando. Because we were reporting it. So I want to know what school that kid goes to and why his behavior is so good. Probably because the mom was wild, batshit crazy.
They usually have the good kids.
Yeah. So when you're losing it, the kid's just like, it might be from trauma, but they just sit there. I can
do. She's out topped me. I'm just gonna go along.
I need to stop being so sane at home.
Yeah, maybe that'll
make the kid just be like, you know what? Both of them just. Let me just do what I'm supposed to do. Maybe if I start throwing things and carjacking people, they'll get in line.
30 years is a long time.
Yikes. I'm stressed out about 6 weeks. 30 years?
That's a long time.
You know what? A grippy sock vacation wouldn't be bad. I could take a grippy sock.
What you just said.
Put me in a mental hospital.
You're not going to pass that psych exam.
I can't say that.
You cannot call it a grippy sock vacation.
But think about it.
I get it.
Amazing. You in the bed. They give you medications to sleep. So you're sleeping sound.
For 30 years?
No, not 30 years. 2 weeks. I'll take 2 weeks right now. I'll even take 30 days.
2 weeks doesn't change the behavior in anybody. I think she just needs 2 weeks to
30 days of a grippy sock vacation would reset me. And I can come back home. And it's a valid excuse. Who's going to tell you? I'm like, I was having a mental breakdown.
But I'm ready now. Take me back now.
I'm good. Yeah. I'm ready to be a mom.
I don't know if it works that way. I think that's why a lot of people don't say nothing, because then you're not looked at the same afterwards.
I don't give a damn how people look at me, though.
I know.
But maybe that might cost. Okay. We're not taking I'll just wear the grippy socks at home.
Yes.
Until the kids,
in your own private, yes.
Like, don't look at me today. Show them crazy eyes.
And
maybe they'll chill out. I don't know. Well, we're going to get to today's topic. And this topic is coming about because episode 17 about survivor's guilt from This Too Shall Pass with you, Ariel. Yes. You were having some conflicting feelings. And I probably should let you kind of talk about what those feelings are with you, because I just left therapy and I was like bawling and I didn't realize where they were coming from. And I was like, oh my God, Ariel was just literally talking about these feelings. Yeah. So maybe someone is going through this or is about to go through this, and I want to talk about that. So you were feeling survival guilt.
Yeah.
Or survivor's guilt. Where did that stem from and what did it look like?
It stemmed from my beautiful sister, now lives with me. Her and her son, which is my nephew.
And this is the sister she met at 25.
Yes, this is my biological sister. I have no other sister. I wasn't raised with a sister. I am adopted. That's also on This Too Shall Pass and Pivot with Purpose. But this is my sister that I met 2016. She now lives with me with her young son, which is my nephew. He is 2. My sister is great. She's just in the beginning part of being a single mom.
Because he's 2, 1.5?
He just turned 2.
2.
Yeah. So she's still in the beginning. I think kind of where me and you can say we found ourselves. All the promises they made, why me? I tried my hardest not to, put myself in this situation. I saw other women in this situation. She really tried to safeguard herself and is now blaming herself a lot for where she is. And I'm getting stuck. And it's not even just with my sister. I mean, in general, I have women from my church that have reached out to me, and I need a way to figure out how to let people vent on me or tell me exactly how they are instead of me. I don't know. I feel guilty that I'm not there anymore. Why am I not there anymore? Why did God fix it for me? How do I encourage another woman to get to where I am? Because I feel like when you're struggling just to make it through, I'm not jotting down what I did. I'm not jotting down how I made it. There wasn't no blueprint. I just didn't quit.
Surviving.
I just didn't quit. Every day, just brung a new sun, brung a new day, brung a new set of problems. And
Googled something new.
Yep. Moved on and kept walking. And I just don't know how to encourage someone who feels stuck without making it my problem, without me feeling like I have to put on a cape and fix it now. I've been through it. I'm strong enough to go through it because I've already done it. Maybe enabling that person and not giving them the strength to do it and swallowing it all to myself and not speaking about where I am, how maybe some things they might vent about may trigger me, or how some things they may say, I'm just like, oh, I've been there before, done that, just keep going, and not pushing it off to make it seem like I'm insensitive or I don't care. So yeah, the guilt of it all is just, why me? How did I make it out? Because if I look back, I don't know what makes me different from her or anyone else.
So what's crazy is, so I guess mine is a tad bit different, because when you're saying all of this, immediately I'm like, well, you worked to get here. So it's like, yes, we are believers. So it's like, God definitely got you out of that dark space. Right. But you didn't sit on your behind. Right. While God said, oh, here, let me open this door for you. Let me open this door for you. And let me make this better for you. And he didn't do that, right? He was just like, I'm giving you the strength. I'm giving you the wisdom. You prayed for certain things and you got those things not right away. I mean, you're 16 years in. Yeah. I'm 19 years in. So we do take that when we have people like, oh my God, why haven't I got here? I don't have that issue per se. I don't have anyone coming to me saying like, why me or not. For me, I've been in a survival mode my entire life since I was 17. So when I had my daughter, and although I come from, when I say privilege, very similar, I come from privilege, right? So it's not like I didn't have this struggle life growing up where I had to eat ramen noodles because that's all there was. So I struggled as a mom in a sense of like doing it alone. I didn't want necessarily too much help, and they were there as a backup. But then once I lost my dad, that became a little bit different. 11 years into me being a mom. Now it feels like I've had broken relationship after broken relationship, job after job, pivoting in all these different ways, trying to make it work. And then now I'm here. Right. And it seems like doors are opening faster than I can look. Yep. And I don't know how to accept it. And that's when I was like just bawling and trying to find ways to make it harder. And I just kept saying to her, I can't, with the opportunity that's coming up, with clients, with being able to sleep in sometimes if I wanted to. Well, I can't because of some, but like come back home or have the freedom of like, I can go work out and then come work a little bit. I don't have a 9 to 5 anymore. Like it's been a long time. So I see everyone else having to work so hard for what they want. Right. And then the other aspect of it is that what I'm doing right now, what I do behind closed doors for work, comes so easy to me. Yeah. Or comes easy to me, and it's also, it feels good when I do it. Right. And I'm used to, or we are conditioned to work where it feels like we don't want to be there. Right. Where it's just like, this is so hard. I just have to do something I don't want to do. Right. I'm exhausted at the end of it. And don't get me wrong, I'm tired when I'm done with production days that are
But you 18. Don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
You don't hate it.
And I feel guilty about that. Yeah. I feel guilty that why me? Mm-hmm. Why was I able to get here? I'm the girl that had the loose hand ready to fight people. I'm the girl that raising my daughter, my mouth was crazy. My mouth was crazy with other people, with my parents. I think I'm a good person. Right. But also, why is this all happening all at once? And my therapist was like, well, Carla, just accept that the universe is finally opening up to you, that God is finally opening up these doors for you because you've done the work. And then as I was talking to Paola yesterday about it, she was like, well, you don't not work hard. Because I'm like, I don't feel like I work hard. I don't. She's like, yes, you do. So it's hard to look at what I'm doing, because I also feel that it is probably it is trauma inducing, all the things that I've been through. I've disassociated my entire life with myself. So it's like I'm constantly watching myself like a Sims game. It's okay, there's Carla. Oh, she's about to do this show or that show or get this client or be with her friends here or go on this vacation. And it's like, how is she doing that? I'm just watching me doing it, and I don't feel like I'm celebrating it or like I can accept it and be like, I did that. It's more like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Even the good things.
I can relate to you on a lot of what you just said. We didn't come from poverty. We didn't struggle. We had kids young.
Right.
Failed relationships. Bad mouths. Do you have anyone in your life that tells you, oh my gosh, how do you do so much? How are you doing all of this? See,
that's a constant DM. That's a constant conversation. Sometimes like, how are you doing? And I think I say it to you even sometimes with the 5 kids, just because I look at the overwhelm of the 5 kids. But at the same time, I don't see the fact that I'm doing just as much.
I don't
it
think
doesn't
we're
feel
used
like it.
to easy. I think we're used to carrying, we're used to baggage, we're used to heavy. So when we carry things for so long, even though I think we've put them down, we still move like we're carrying it. I just got out of a 9-to-5. I'm on a lot of things social media wise, and people look at me and like, oh my gosh, how do you do it? And it comes very natural. It's easy for me to speak and do certain things and just move on. And yeah, as soon as I leave here, I'm going to disassociate, clock out, become a mom, clock out, then do dinner, bath, homework, and then start over the next day. And I have people just like you on your page who probably watch me to figure out how I function through the chaos. And I don't even know what the answer is. I don't know.
I just feel like I need to take in the fact that I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
We're doing it's our gift.
Right.
Everyone's always like, oh my God, you have to, when you find your gift, when you find your purpose. And it's like, oh.
But I felt giftless for so long.
Yes.
Like what is the gift of having sex early and having children? I was supposed to be, I was shamed for it. I was left out of a lot of things. I was poor for a while because of it. So it didn't feel like a gift.
Well, I don't think the gift was having sex early, because it hurts and doesn't even feel good.
Yeah, don't
so if any kids happen to volunteer into teenagers, don't have sex. This is not the blueprint. Neither is Kim Kardashian's sex tape. Clearly, many have tried, haven't made it.
Yeah.
So that is not the gift. The gift is that there was a purpose for you.
Yeah.
And you had a voice that you didn't know you had, and it took all these things to get that voice out. You know, I feel like we're able to speak and give a voice to those that are voiceless. And there are some that their gift, like the way that Paola's able to sit on that computer and do paperwork and like even what you were doing, which is not your passion, but you can sit there and do billing and coding and organizing things. The way that May does things in the background for me, the way that Courtney's here editing and in front of the computer and casing crazy clips. I look at every single one of them and say, how do you do it?
Yeah.
Because I could never. So they're probably like, this comes easy to us.
Right.
Like, even watching Chris back there, he's like doing I'm not doing it. Hey, Chris. He popped in here in the middle of the recording. Watching them and Carlos, and I'm like, they want to run a studio?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound appealing to me. But if that didn't feel like passion to them, we wouldn't be here.
They couldn't do it.
If you didn't find it like a passion to record and be in front of a camera and that's how you express yourself, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have the following that you have. You wouldn't help the millions of people that see you.
Right.
So I think that's part of it, because in order for us to do everything that we do, then there's the people on Instagram that are working on their passion to make sure that there's an app that is working constantly, those IT people.
So is it everyone just finding their lane?
Yeah.
Finding what you're good at and staying in that.
And I think because of social media, which is a gift and a curse, they're looking at things quick. And they're seeing your day in 60 seconds where that day took years to get to. And also the in-betweens are, for me, picking up Psalm at 12 because he threw a tantrum and then coming back home and still trying to have that meeting and be virtually here. And you didn't see me crying. Yeah. Or maybe sometimes you might, because I do it sometimes. But you're not seeing that all the time. You're just seeing kind of like the final product.
Yeah.
And I try to show as much as possible of the real.
Yeah, but you can only show so much. And social media, I think the only curse about it is exactly what you said. You hit it on the head. It's just, you only see what I show you. Mm-hmm. If I don't show you my hard days, if I didn't save the pictures of my bruised face from domestic violence, it would have just been verbal. But if I can show you a photo or show you the video or show you how I did something, I think transition is always very important. I think it helps with the comparison. Because I think we only compare when we see people's end goal.
Yes. And that end goal, it took years.
Yeah. But when you see people's beginnings, no one's like, ooh, I want that. That's what I want.
Not at all.
I didn't want it. Like,
if
I worked so hard to get so
phone,
far away from it.
If you would have had a phone, and if I would have documented what I was going through in Jersey, although I showed highlights there, that's why I felt like such a fraud a lot of times, and why I stopped potting, because I'm like, I'm a fraud. I had to stop that podcast with my ex because I'm like, at some point I'm like, this isn't what it is.
Yeah.
Like we're lying. I'm lying at this point.
Yeah.
They can lie all they want. I'm lying at this point, or I'm not showing you the real one. I don't want someone to look at my life. Prime example. I was going to talk about this with Paola, but like Carl Lentz, which I'll be talking about soon in an episode. The pastor,
right?
We were seeing him preach and do these amazing things, and we're like, that's the kind of life I want. I want to be a man like him, or a family woman like him, or a wife like him.
The finish line.
You didn't even know he was smashing somebody at home. This huge pastor, his wife had to take that on, what she had to go through. So we're watching everyone's like end goal, but sometimes they're fucking lying.
Yeah, they're actually, a majority.
A lot. Thank you.
A majority.
A majority of people are on social media lying.
They get quick schemes, the cars that are rented. It's all a facade.
Like, let me help you make $1 million on your podcast. Let me help you make $1 million as an influencer. Let me help you take your business to a 6-figure business in 1 year. And it's like, what?
Some is shorter than that, 60 days. And I'm just like,
6 figures in 60 days?
I smell bullshit.
No. And I've always said on my platform, I'll never guarantee anyone any type of money when it comes to podcasting, because there's so much work that you have to do. And it depends on what your definition of success is.
Yeah.
Some people want to do certain things not for the money. And when I started this, it wasn't for the money.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk. I wanted to write, then talk, then help others talk as well. And that happened to lead me to money. And that didn't take as long as some people do when they're not doing what they love. So I feel like when people let's say someone's watching you, right? And it's like, well, I got 5 kids too, so I'm going to do what Ariel does.
Just that. Yeah.
They're not going to get blessed in it because it's not what comes natural to them. It might be that one day they'll end up with a great YouTube or Instagram page, but they might end up like that white lady and the little therapist. Did you see that? The white lady and the therapist that got together and they were abusing the 5 kids and putting them in cages and stuff like that. Did you see that? But they were teaching parenting skills on YouTube with millions of subscribers.
Yeah.
Putting on just to get likes and views. Yeah. But that probably took a bit longer to get to versus when you're doing it because it's your passion, it's what you love, and you just happen to get a payout from TikTok that you had no idea you could get.
Yep. Everyone wants everything now.
And that's not how it works.
Quick, fast, now.
And I mean, I do too.
Certain things.
I want certain things fast, but then I have to remind myself I didn't get here fast. I got here by being diligent and obedient.
I got here very slowly. Like I probably arrived
for somebody
10 months ago, if that.
For somebody with 5 children, I think that it had to take its course. At first, I don't think it's a time thing. I think it's when you're ready thing. I think it's when God realizes you're ready now. I have been giving you the same test over and over again, and you keep failing the same thing. When you start passing those tests that we're getting, then things start opening up. It's more about when you are ready. I couldn't, and I always say I couldn't be where I am today with the mentality of 3 years ago.
No.
I couldn't get the opportunities that I have today with the mentality I had 4 or 5 years ago. There's no way. So I
can agree to that.
And every time something really, really shitty happens, and I pass it without like hitting somebody or like doing some wild things with it, right? Or reacting like my normal instinct is, I pass it and then I come and something happens. And I'm like, I've been through that already. This is what I was being prepped for.
This won't kill me. This isn't the end of the road.
Oh, I know how to now deal with it. It's like, this is a bigger door that opened. I know how to deal with this because I dealt with it with that.
There's some things you can't learn until you go through it though. There's some things that you can teach someone or tell someone, but certain things about life or your journey or your passion, I think that's why it can't be duplicated or recreated, because there is a pain, a passion, a low point when it's yours, when it's your story, when it's your gift, when it's your testimony.
You have to go through it.
It's just you. And it's nothing I could teach. It's a good way to think about it. Maybe I'll look at it that way. When people are like, oh my God, well, how did you do it? Or how are you happy being a single mom? I don't even think about, and it's a lot like what you said, like when you're going through your day and you're super busy, you kind of disassociate. I watch Ariel, I feel like, do a lot of things. Sometimes I'm not in there all the time.
I feel like I have a control, like one of those Nintendo remotes, and I'm like, okay, go here now, go pick them up,
Go send this email. Go call. You're sad now. Go smoke. Like, go outside for a walk. I'm telling myself what to do, but I don't know if I'm necessarily feeling all of it.
Living in that moment. Yeah, no.
Right. I'm not living in it. I'm just doing. And I want to stop that because I feel like there's so much more to life. And I keep seeing, like, around 37. My best friend is about to turn 40 in 3 weeks.
Okay.
And now I'm starting to watch people in their 50s, 50, 55. And I'm like, okay, I'm like 18 years away from that.
Okay.
Ayana's 19. She was just born.
19 years ago, though.
Right.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, think about when Andre was born. You don't feel like that was so long ago.
No.
That got here so quick.
Right.
So 18 more years will go by for me so quick. And I'm like, I don't want to miss those years. There's so many years that I don't remember from, like, my past.
I can say that.
I don't remember a ton of things.
My hardest years, I've blanked out.
I love when my old high school friends will give me, do you remember this? Or I'll post something and they're like, yeah, I remember that. And I'm like, I forgot completely. Yeah. No. Or I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just don't
hold
remember.
On to everything. Like
No, I can't. So basically, if you're feeling that way, that like you feel bad because of where you are, don't. You worked really hard for this. It just doesn't feel hard because it's what you love. And if you're right now in the middle of like a shit storm, take it day by day and live your experience, not Ariel's, not mine, not your friends, not these huge influencers on social media. It's like that gives you a blueprint or ideas on where you can go that it might feel. Because I watch certain people and I'm like, well, that sparks me. Like when B. Simone did her $1 million journey in a month, I think she wanted to make $1 million in 30 days, something along those lines. I remember watching it. She wasn't my client yet, just watching it. And I'm like, man, like, I would love to do something like that. And I get ideas from her, like marketing. I'm like, oh, I like that. That speaks to me. Yeah. Not because it worked for her, but it spoke to me. I listen to certain pods sometimes and I'm like, oh, that speaks to me. How can I then put my sauce on that to make it work for me?
This in my life, in my business, it's not a copy and paste.
No.
It's not.
It's more of like inspiration.
How could I use this?
As inspiration.
A tool.
So if you're in the shitstorm, look for inspiration and make it fit to your life because your life is. We don't have the same parents, we don't have the same friends, we don't have the same environment.
Nope.
You might live up north. I have to acclimate my physical journey because 103 degrees index outside.
It is.
I can't just walk outside it's 12 o'clock. Let me take a break. What?
It's 80 at like 9 a.m.
The heat index when I was going to pick up Psalm at 11 something was 103. Yeah, I wanted to go for a walk at 8:30 a.m. The heat index was 94. I said, well,
we're burning.
I'm paying for this gym. I might as well go use it.
Yeah.
So I went into the gym. I went inside. That's the only reason why I've been in the gym because it's too hot outside. So you have to but there's some folks like Hey from the friend zone. She's out there in Oregon, I believe, Seattle. So somewhere out there where the white wolves.
Far away from us.
Far away from us. And she's like, I'm hiking. Shout out to Hey, by the way. The Friend Zone is an amazing podcast with it's Fran, Asante, and Dustin. Love all three of them. They make me feel like, oh, I know them personally, but I didn't for a long time. And I think they're amazing. But she talks about her health and mental health journey. And she's like, I'm going hiking. And there's waterfalls. And I go outside for hours. And I do my 15 to 20,000 steps a day. She got no kids. So just in case. But anyway, the point is that she can do that during the day.
Right.
Because it's not 115 degrees. Yeah. And we're just started July.
So you adjust your life for where you are.
Right. So adjust what you take from us or anywhere else into your own life. And I think maybe that'll help with that whole like, how do you do it? No, you have to do it. I can't give you my blueprint.
I can't.
I can give you a blueprint, but you gotta do it. In life, it's your blueprint. I guess with one specific project, you could use the blueprint, add your sauce, but for life, it's your own.
It is your own. And you got to think that whatever you're going through or what somebody else is going through, that doesn't mean that this is how I teach it to my kids. My son is 16.
Right.
He's the same age that I was when I had him.
Oh, Jesus. That's
so I tell him when he is, he is a human. He has urges. He likes the opposite sex. So here we are 16 years later. And the best way that I was able to teach him is like, don't think because I made it through, God's going to give you that same grace.
Right.
Him having sex early can be completely different for him. He looks at me like, oh my God, she made it. She's happy. She has 5 kids. She has a good house. She has a good job, a good car. Don't think that God's grace for me and my situation will be the same for you. Right. Everyone's story is different. His could either be worse or better, but don't look at people so intensely and think that God's grace is going to be the same on you.
No. And again, it's different. You're a boy. You're a black man.
It is completely
different. You are
in
2024 as a teenager, which is very different from when we were teenagers. So the whole thing is completely different.
Of things, a lot of factors that people don't look into when they step into other people's shoes or try to copy it, per se.
That's a good segue, actually, into talking about boundaries, because we also had this conversation. Did you talk about it on the pod yet or no? The boundaries aspect of it?
No, not yet.
No, we
don't
didn't.
think so.
So this is something that I talk about with many people.
Okay.
Because they're like, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And you asked me a question. You said, I'm going to ask you this. You said it might be intrusive. And I was like, no, it's not.
Might be a little intrusive.
Well, how did you ask it? Do you remember?
We actually made it through. So I'm going to talk to you about that on here. We actually made it through yesterday.
Okay, let's do it.
I think I asked you, how do you love someone well that's hurting, but still not want them to like overstep into your personal space?
And then you also asked about, do you lose people?
Do you lose people when you set boundaries?
Right. So we were talking, you were, dealing with the situation with your sister moving in, and that's a big deal.
It is.
It's a big deal because my biggest worry for you, whether it was your sister or anybody else, is that you have prayed to be here.
Yeah.
You finally, 6 months ago?
Just 6 months ago.
Just 6 months ago, got your own place. There's a sense of peace and stability in your life. Although we got the entrepreneurship, the part of it in there.
But it's going good.
It's going amazing.
Yeah.
Like, God is literally opening these doors for you and finally letting you breathe, which for you it's that. For me, it's in a different level, but it's like, I'm breathing. Finally, I'm fucking breathing. But for how long?
Like, I'm breathing.
Right.
And I'm slowly like appreciating it through the process. Yep.
How not to be like, well, when is the shoe going to drop?
Right.
But that was my fear for you. I was like, here, take this book. And you were like, Audible is best. I said, I understand. But it was called Boundaries, which I've talked about it on here plenty of times. I'll link it to this episode, that book, and how to set those boundaries, because you can't bring anyone to your space, whether that's a parent, a friend, coworker, especially at work. For me, it's a big one at work.
Yeah.
And set those boundaries with them. And please read the book, because I don't even want to go into too much detail about what that boundary looks like or how you actually set them. That doesn't mean don't call me and because I don't like it. No, it's just there's a consequence to it, and there's a real reason why it affects you. There's a real reason that what they're doing is wrong or not good for you. And then implementing that and having consequences for it.
Correct.
So I think that's what we talked about. How are you setting the boundaries specifically for your sister coming into your space with her child and her situation where you're like, just don't set me back. Let me help you. But like when I take on people, sometimes I'm like, I can't do too much because that can set me back. But here's what I can offer you, whether it's an ear, whether it's advice, whether it's sometimes I might be like, let me just pay this for you real quick and step back.
Yeah.
And then it's like, after that, I can't do anything else. But that's a boundary you have with yourself. Don't go too deep where you're going to drown yourself. So how did it go?
That is actually after speaking to you, speaking to somebody else, listening to the book. It's something about not wanting to be combative that stops me from setting boundaries, especially when I know I can help. I mean, I have the time or want to, but I'll still do it because sometimes I'm like, ooh, I wish somebody would have done that for me. Or, ooh, I remember being there. So sometimes I'll make myself small or swallow myself. And it's not even love my sister down, but it's not just her. It's my kids. It's my parents. It's past relationships. I've always dated where I felt like they needed me.
Even with work. You've worked yourself into hours that you probably shouldn't have.
Overworked, overdone everything in my pay grade, and then just took it. And just kept giving and giving and giving and giving. Maybe it has something to do with not feeling like I was ever enough or not good enough to let me overwork or overshow up or overprovide to be like, ooh, I can do this.
Love me. Give me validation.
But then in the end of the day, it would make me resentful. And then I would help and help and help. And then I would snap, and then me and this person would lose our relationship and we wouldn't talk anymore. And for them, it came out of nowhere. But for me, I knew where it came from, but I was only talking about it in the shower to myself or in the tub by myself or on the toilet by myself.
You ever had like a whole argument by yourself in the shower?
Or yelling by myself in the car. But then when I walk into that person, I'm like, hey, how are you?
You're good.
And I swallow it. I'm good. I just keep going. You're going to be mad at me, but I actually did not bring up all of my boundaries at first when my sister moved in.
Okay.
My sister is not a boundary kind of person. Maybe she is, but she's okay more than me speaking through situations that are uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, because if you have no consequences, let's talk about it.
Yeah, maybe.
I talk about uncomfortable. If I just had to talk to the bank and let's have the uncomfortable conversation about how they didn't pay you for the past 6 months. And okay, we had the conversation now. Let's keep it moving and keep not paying.
Yeah.
You know, if I just didn't turn into a client, their stuff, and I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm late with this stuff. Your stuff is not out, but...
I kept like dropping little hints, but I wasn't being very detailed. And I felt like if I was over detailed, then I was becoming her mother or becoming her boss or becoming someone that's like dictatorship. And that's not how I want a sister relationship to be.
But you're hindering her.
At the same time, I felt like, oh my God, I'm picking up 2 more people. I already have 5 kids. So I didn't know where the balance was. And yesterday we put the boys down for a nap. We were making lunch and we just had a conversation. And I mean, it involved notebooks, pens, pencils, calendars. Who's going to do this? What days can I wash? The kids are on me these days. I will do this. And it was good once it was over. But even like going through it, it was uncomfortable for me.
It's so uncomfortable.
It was
I hate doing it.
Like sticky. I felt like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to be
when
over.
I have to talk to my team, like if they drop the ball on something, which it really rarely happens. But it's just like, all right, we need to reset. And I have to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Hate it. I'm like, because you're a good person.
Yep.
I love you. You're great at what you do. But sometimes like, this is not good. So I think that we all need, you're doing her a disservice by not giving her consequences, because at the end of the day, you're taking her, you're letting her come home to you and with you in order to allow her for a better life.
Right.
So if there are no consequences with you,
but at the sacrifice of me.
And it should not be at the sacrifice of you.
Correct.
It should be, I'm going to bring you here. This is what I have to give. And I think it took me a long time to be like, sometimes now you're not talking about be on D&D. Yeah. I don't go nowhere. And people are like, oh my God, let's go out. No, but what are you doing? Sitting here, looking at the wall. Yeah. I don't want to do anything. I truly just don't. And when I do want to do something, I will do it. But when I don't want to do it, I just won't. Yeah. And I feel like, but I can go pick that up. Yeah. I can give them $100. Nobody actually asks me for money. I'm lying. Right. Wish you would. I don't know who you is, but if anybody does, don't. But or go somewhere, do something for them, put them on to somebody, any of that. I'm like, I can, but I don't have. Perfect example is Ayana. Yeah. Wanted me to have you when you see her or send a DM, and good luck because she gets plenty of DMs. Yeah. Like help me get to this person. You do it. I don't have to. Can I? Absolutely. But am I seeing that you're doing the work for me to put myself on the line and my name on the line for that? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So, and that's me. I feel like it's a parenting thing. As parents, we have to put them in situations where they're actually going to do things themselves. But you have to have those consequences. And you just got started with boundaries. For me, it was very wishy-washy. I still allowed some people in after putting up some boundaries, and they did me dirty again. And I'm like, all right, now I know who you are. Right. Let me leave it alone. And it hurts. And then you ask me, are you going to lose people? Yeah. And setting boundaries. If they are healthy boundaries, if they are real boundaries of yours, some people will leave. Yeah. And those people were going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? They were going to hinder you. A hindrance. Regardless of whether you stayed there or not. If you stayed, you were going to be frustrated and being pulled back. If you put the boundary up, they're going to leave. But it's just like the best of both scenarios is for you to leave. Yeah. So now I can have time to continue to grow. Yeah.
Boundaries definitely is, I do feel like a parent to other people that are not my kids when I set boundaries.
But you're not a parent. You're setting boundaries for you.
I know.
You're not their parents. You're just like, Ariel has boundaries. Yeah. You have to respect me. You have to respect my home. I mean, I'm with Ayana right now. Ooh, baby. I just took the batteries off the automatic entrances, took the keys. I said, the curfew is changed. Boundaries. Yeah. Boundaries and consequences. You think I want her home at 8:00? Fuck no. Yeah. But there's a consequence to certain things, and they didn't have anything to do with her coming home because she's always home on time. Yeah. But other little things, I'm like, well, this is what's coming up next. I don't want to do it. Yeah. But if I don't keep doing it, the little subtle things that are of disobedience or disrespect are going to continue to happen.
And I'm taking the consequences, or they're not learning to be self-sufficient.
I'll even give you this one, because this one might apply to you at some point. Okay. It's something as little as Ayana's not washing. Her chore at my house, and you know I have people come clean the house every week. Her chore at my house is every evening, she needs to wash the dishes, clean the kitchen, so when I wake up, the kitchen is clean.
Got it.
A week now.
Not doing it.
I wake up in the morning, kitchen's dirty. Keep in mind, it might be my dishes, her dishes.
Yep.
I don't care whose dishes it are.
Yeah.
It needs to be cleaned. And most of the time, it's not even nothing crazy.
Yep.
I have to wake her at 8 in the morning.
There's only 3 of you in there. One of them's a toddler.
Nah. 3 of us, 2 adults. So clearly, and I buy all the food for the house.
Yep.
I have a cleaning person.
Yep.
You don't pay rent. Well, she does $250 a month. And that's just really for me to show her that she needs to pay something. Not doing this fucking dishes. And I said, next time, I'm losing my shit now with you because it's just, this is the only thing I'm asking of you. Yep. Now, is it that serious? I can definitely wake up and wash the dishes. Right. I can absolutely, it's 4 or 5 dishes there. Maybe the things have to be wiped down. It's not a lot, but that is my requirement of you in my home.
Right.
So the next step is you're going to be home now. The entrance to your door is going to be, I'm going to take it off. That way I can actually hear when you're coming in. And I'm changing the code here. And at 8 o'clock, no one is coming into my house.
Yeah.
Period, point blank. I don't want to do that, but I had to. And can I wash the dishes? Yes. Yeah. Can I hire someone and come wash them every night? Yes. Yeah. Am I going to? No. That is my boundary with you. That is my what I'm asking of you. And if they break that, there has to be a consequence. That's the only reason why I say make sure those consequences are also said and written. I literally told her yesterday, I'm changing your curfew 8 o'clock if you do this again. And I woke up this morning and they weren't done. And that's when I really lost my shit. I said, what am I doing? Yeah, am I talking to a wall? Yeah. But it's because there's never any consequences.
Yep.
So now I'm so frustrated, hitting the fucking dryer, losing my shit outside so I don't like do anything stupid.
Right.
And I'm like, it's falling on me because I'm not following through with the boundary that I put up.
Right.
Because it's frustrating that I'm sitting here paying for everything. And I want you in my home. Right. I want to have you there. I have the ability to buy the food for the house.
But I want you to contribute. And that's how I feel right now. I feel like, oh my gosh, am I making it comfortable for you to be a single mom while
you struggle? While you're here.
Or stood in long lines, food bank lines, homeless shelters.
We don't even do lines no more. You have to send a line online.
Yeah. I was in the heat with a stroller from Goodwill, just standing. I feel like, am I doing you a disservice or am I helping you?
Right.
And that's a thin line.
Very thin. So
it's a thin line.
For you, for myself, I'm good with it now. I still have a hard time with tough conversations, but I put myself down and I'm like, as uncomfortable as I feel, I'm going to do it. And I do it with friends, work, my kids. I mean, I don't have any parents to do it with.
Right.
Well, I do. I mean, she's alive and I could absolutely still be in her presence and allow her. Yeah, my mom. I could, but I chose, my boundary was there's no more communication there. So, and that's hard. Because like I told you, so to finish that part of boundaries off, will you lose someone? Yes, you're going to lose people that never respected you in the first place. That never had respect for you and never had a real love for who you are. Now, those that respect you, because the boundaries that you're placing, if you're a good person, is not like some bullshit boundary.
Yeah.
Not even that it's hard. It's not that I'm asking you to like, my boundary is that you have to buy me X, Y, and Z every month. No. Or my boundary is, nothing silly like that. What we're doing is things that are truly just to make sure that we're all good. Right. And if they can see that and they can look outside of themselves and their own entitlement,
right?
Then and they love you and respect you, they will eventually be okay with your boundary.
I agree.
Yeah. So if you're setting boundaries, who is it? John Townsend. Boundaries by Dr. John Townsend, I believe is his name. Isn't it good, the stories that he gives?
I'm halfway through. I am failing in a lot of areas in my life. It goes through a lot of different scenarios.
Yes.
So if you're working on boundaries or you listen to that book, good luck that you're not as passive as me. But it definitely is peeling me back.
And you thought you're like so good because you're non-confrontational. You don't hit people. And it's like, that sometimes is like even worse.
It's worse.
Because you have this internal battle.
Yeah. I just, like a sponge, I just hold everyone else's guilt and then
until you blow up.
And they're good.
They're like,
I've held on to something for years.
Mio, she's crazy.
Yeah, it's just her.
No.
Yep.
Well, Ariel is working on something really special for those Florida mamas that are struggling with trying to put. This could work for men as well. So for single parents that have a deadbeat other parent, because none of us made it ourselves.
Or nicely said as an absent parent. That's how it's said on the websites. But if you're looking for your deadbeat, as Carla said, yes.
And this is how I see it. You're going to put it in really nice words where it looks. Absent parents, them deadbeats that don't give a fuck about what they put in their 50%, and you can't find them. And this is not for them folks that are keeping the baby away because of X, Y, and Z. This is not for you. Right. This is not for you to use it as a weapon. Right. This is for you to truly get what is owed to you or to your child. Legally.
Yes.
So I have been struggling for the past, and I'll be completely honest with you here, I've been struggling for the past 2 years now to get Psalm's father to pay or contribute at all. We have zero communication. There's zero contribution. There's zero outreach. There is no, he's not even trying. Not even trying. And I'm just like, well, I can't force you. But we have been trying to find him now since May of last year.
Okay.
The child support through Florida has been trying to locate him without any luck. So now with the help of Ariel, she's going to help me, but she's also going to help all of you guys find that absent parent on your own and not have to go through the
legal channels that are provided for you through the state.
Because they're BS.
Yes.
They're really BS. They're like, oh, we'll send one letter, wait 90 days, send another letter. Oh, now I have to wait another 90 days. And that's just not cool because you only get retroactive child support for 2 years. And do I need the money? No.
Right.
But what is going to happen here is the fact that I am taking on this responsibility on my own because I have to and I will, and it's my son and I'm choosing to.
We're making them not enabled to the help that the state gives. Correct. Like a boundary. Yeah. Similar to how we just said. So the help that comes from the state is helpful. They do help you, but they do it on their time, in their time window, when they can. And if you can provide what they need in a certain amount of window, and sometimes if you don't respond or things just go unresponded to for a long amount of time, they close it. Whether your kid is 5 or 55. If it takes a long time, you don't know the answers, they can't find them, it's over. Good luck. Mothers, baby, fathers, maybe. That's where that came from.
So deadbeat mamas, deadbeat daddies, any of it.
I will teach you how to do it by yourself. All the paperwork from beginning to end, how to file it, self-represent yourself. It is a lot of hard work, but I think that's, again, looping back into what makes us us. The stitching to your fabric. What is you? I did this by myself because I didn't have an option. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time to wait. We were in homeless shelters. I had more than one mouth to feed. Right. And I'm good at organizing and looking. Once I figure something out and I know the pieces on where it goes, I can figure it out. And that was my goal. I was supposed to go to family law school. This was my ideal thing to do family law.
And I never could do it. I was going to do criminal law. I was going to law school. Yeah. And I had the baby. And my best friend, Shaquana Harper,
had to drop out.
Ended up going and she's an attorney now. Both our last names. I'm H-O. She's H-A. We did all of high school together.
Or are you just happy for her?
I'm super happy for her.
Yeah.
I think I'm now where I am today. Yeah. I'm like, I love this. But sometimes I'm like, I wish I was in that courtroom. So I listen to, I like a lot of crime stuff. Cause
I do. Yeah.
So, and listening to books, I'm like, I'm going to figure out who did it. And this last book that I was listening to, I figured it out. I figured out, and Paola did it. Most people didn't. I figured it out. So I was like, I should have been an attorney. Because that, and the lady was anyways, I'll tell you guys about it later.
We'll get into that. But I will help you beginning to end by yourself, without an attorney, without state assistance, how to file for the rights of yourself and your child, Florida law, child support beginning to end.
So I think we're going to do more. I want to do definitely once we roll it out, a whole another episode to really talk about what that looks like, how it's helped. We could probably start mine soon. And one thing that I do want to use your resources. Yes. I know that Mandy, I put on here, I was like, who is the Brightline hookup? And here you go, Mandy. Here you go with all this money and still trying to get a hookup. I said, I actually got 50% off by just asking. And she's like, what? Use your resources. Yes. So sometimes you have friends around you and I'm like, look, how can I bring value to you? Yep. And how can you bring value to me? This stuff that she's doing, she already knows like the back of her hand. To put it together and get it out, I know like the back of my hand. Yep. So I'm like, what is it called? We scratch each other's back. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if I'm always going to ask and I will let the person say yes or no.
That is probably your best quality. And I've told you that more than once.
You have.
You will always shoot your shot. It can be an empty barrel hallway and she's going to say, can anyone in here? And she waits like a soundboard for anything to bounce back. That is her best quality. I kid you not.
Because I know that I have certain qualities that I hate when someone comes to me like, can you just teach me how to do this?
Yeah.
No, I'd rather someone come to me like, yo, I can do those 3 videos for you. Can you just help me set up this RSS feed? Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, we can. Because if you're bringing value to me for something that comes easy to me and something that comes easy to you, why not? That's the whole point of having a network. Yep.
Barter your resources.
But we're so used to doing everything all on our own, or I got the money to pay for it. One thing about me, I'm not paying full price for a damn thing.
Nothing.
I'm not paying full price for nothing. So use your resources, use your people. Set those boundaries.
Yes.
And if someone asks you like, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z for me? Like when I ask you that, I expect for you to tell me I don't have the bandwidth to help you with that right now. Like, you know what, here, or maybe I can just send you the link.
Yep.
But I can't help you any further. Like same thing with Paula, who just came in. But there's so many times that I ask her, like she's my co-parent.
Right.
We co-parent Psalm together, or both our children.
Yes.
But I need her a lot more because mine is still shit himself. So basically, when I'll be like, I need help with X, Y, and Z, and she'll be like, I can help you with Y and Z.
Right.
Or I can help you with Y, Z, half of Z. And it's like, that is her boundary. And it's like, okay, cool. Okay. Then they're like, how'd you get this help? Because I asked.
Because I asked. A closed mouth doesn't get fed.
No, I'm asking. I'm tired of staying quiet and doing things on my own. That is tiring and lonely.
And heavy.
And I already got enough heavy on me. I'm trying to shed it with these walks in the afternoon. But to wrap up, yes, we're going to get Jesus back in here because we all need it for our boundary setting, for our questions asking and help asking and baby daddies. So let's go into this week's Bible verse. Okay. So this week's Bible verse comes from this past church day service. Doing really bad. This past sermon. It's 1 Samuel 15:24.
Okay.
And it says, Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. I didn't obey the Lord's commands and your words. I was afraid of the people and I did what they said. So basically on here, I took these notes because they were talking about how we disobey God in order to please other people. So that stuck with me, and nothing sticks with me if it's not Pastor JJ, Bishop T.D. Jakes, or Sarah Jakes Roberts. I don't listen. I don't like it. I am one of those people that it's like, if it's not my pastor, I don't care about it. And let me look at, I wrote some notes here. Shoot.
That's funny because I went to church also this past Sunday, not to the same church. Didn't say exactly what you said, but said something that stuck with me that I wrote down. I'm going to put it on a shirt. It said, delayed obedience is still disobedience.
I think yes. Do they talk together when they be putting?
I don't know. I don't know if there's like a pastor's group chat.
But
he said, and I literally took out my pen and wrote that down. Delayed disobedience is still disobedience.
I wrote down, we disobey because of the fear of disappointing the wrong people.
Agreed.
So, and it's the wrong people. So we are disobeying God to obey your broke boyfriend that ain't doing nothing for you. We disobey God in fear of disappointing somebody who's doing absolutely nothing for you. Somebody that's telling you let's go out and do some BS that you shouldn't be doing. We disobey God in order to disappoint this boss that's treating you like really bad. Yeah. The wrong people. The right people will never ask you to compromise your values and disobey God himself.
I agree.
So for me, I've always talked about obedience. And I feel like I've gotten to where I am because of obedience and doing the hard things when I'm like, I really should punch this person. Yeah. I don't punch them. Or I can lie on this paperwork a little bit. I can lie and get more money. I could lie about what I can and can't do. I won't do it in order to succeed because eventually that's disobedience and
sacrifice isn't worth it. Yep.
It's not. So that was 1 Samuel 15:24. I have sinned. I didn't obey the Lord's commands and your words. I was afraid of the people and I did what they said. So take a second, be quiet, listen to what God is saying to you. It might come in form of a voice. It might come in form of a vision. It might come in form of a feeling sometimes. That's how I feel. A lot of times I'm like, God, I don't know if this is you or if it's like the wine. Or is it the stress? Or is it the blunt? I don't know.
Right.
But it's something that'll tell you. And then you also have to go back to the Bible or to your values and say, am I following my values? Am I breaking something that I used to do?
It's okay to reference back to your morals and who you are in the Bible and your good settings. I think the hardest thing in life is finding your people, finding the good people, finding
the good people.
And
I feel like I'm there right now. I have such an amazing core of friends. Like I said, I wasn't going to add no more friends after Paola, but then now you got added into it. So I'm done.
The list is closed.
It's closed, okay? But we'll see. If somebody else gets in, you have to be like an amazing person for me to add you here. I cannot have anyone that I'm putting on my back and that they're not willing to move forward. Like if you are willing to soak things in, to be a good person, to truly like, and that comes for men, women, relationships, work. I'm not taking anyone in that doesn't want to do better and it's not drowning me essentially.
I agree.
Well, I hope that helped you guys. This episode was great. Thank you for taking time out of your day, young lady.
Any day. This is where it all started for me, so I am always happy to come back.
I love when you're here. I love when we have conversations because it flows, and I feel like we get each other, even though there's such different walks of life. So different. Like, I don't have 5 kids, and I can still look at her and say, like, I get it.
I get it.
And the people are like, how you get it? Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
I see her like this close. I see her.
Yes.
And that's how you find your people eventually. And it comes in the weirdest way. Like it might be Paola sending DMs like, you got to talk to this girl. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day or morning whenever you're listening. And you can catch Ariel on all of her stuff, which is...
My name is Ariel. I am _Ariel B on all platforms. And I am the host of This Too Shall Pass podcast.
She sure is under Idea Launch. And leave her alone. We are working on all these videos coming together. It is my fault. All of my team's fault that we got drowned. We didn't have boundaries.
We did not have boundaries.
I didn't have boundaries, and it made my business literally tank for a couple of months. So we're working on it. And actually, I was gonna tell you. Never mind. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.
Love ya.